Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be bringing a few people up to the stage. We're about to go through the QCAR survey results for you. It'll be presented to you by Stephen Ryan, QCAR CEO, Panikos Spyrou, QCAR Executive Director and Sugarcane Producer, and Michael Kern, QCAR Chief Strategy Officer.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending. We've had lots of requests to have a serious look and get feedback from our industry colleagues and stakeholders to address some of the systemic, structural and cultural issues that have been besetting our industry for some time. So we designed a survey and put it out there, and we've had some really good feedback about the survey. There are some stakeholders that have not been so happy about that survey. I'll let you guess who that might be. And the purpose of our survey really is to understand the concerns from sugarcane industry stakeholders about the reliability of sugarcane processing factories and the competence of the respective cane supply and transport departments. And of course, it's this aspect that was in particular quite concerning for some stakeholders in our industry. But nevertheless, we needed to do that because we need some real data to be able to confront these issues and to be able to form solutions for the future. The survey has been completed by growers, contractors, service providers, employees, representatives, mill employees, industry marketers, former employees and industry employees. And it's been representative across all of Queensland. So I'd just like to turn now to the results, and I'll have Michael and Panikos going through some of the question results with me. But the first questions that we asked, and we don't, I believe, have this slide, but we have all of the rest. There were 13 questions. So we'll just leave that slide where it is, but I'll just introduce. The first question was, what is your role in the industry? And no surprise that 52.25% of the respondents are farmers, and we've had a response of just over 10% from contractors, and we have had a strong response of 21% of mill employees as well. So various other categories completed the survey. The 0 respondents was from millers. No surprise there, of course, but we put that in just in case anybody wanted to respond in that category. The second question was, which Queensland milling company do you supply or is in your region? And the main respondent there was Wilmar Burdekin, and that was 44%. Wilmar Herbert, 35%. Plain Creek, 7.5%. And we had respondents from MSF at just under 2%. Wilmar Proserpine, 2.25%, and Mackay Sugar, 8.7% of respondents in this data. So that gives you an illustration of the weighting of the representation of the respondents to the survey. So now I'll call my colleagues up to discuss the slides, starting from the one that's on screen, from questions 3 onwards.
Thank you, Stephen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests. So the first question that we had, question number 3 on the survey, is, are you satisfied with the current state of the Queensland sugar industry, its ability to continually sustain our communities, and your region's mill owners' commitment to this mission? Now, the results of this ultimately, on the graphs you will get to see there, is that for this, there was a resounding 46.61% being unsatisfied and 40.6% being very unsatisfied. So therefore, that's a collective of approximately 81% or greater that was for that statement. And ultimately, I think it's fair to say that the results indicate that a significant majority of 87% ultimately of respondents are either very unsatisfied or unsatisfied with the current state of the Queensland sugar industry, its ability to sustain local communities, and their region's mill owners' commitment to the mission. This suggests a high level of discontent and a need for improvement. So moving on to question number 4. Are you satisfied that the milling company in your region is sufficiently investing and are doing all they can to ensure optimum operations with the sound ability to retain adequately skilled labour to meet Australian performance standards? Now, there was a very unsatisfied was 50%, and 38.3% was unsatisfied. So therefore, collectively, we have got a result here of 88 to 89% effectively. So the results indicate that an overwhelming majority of 88% of respondents are either very unsatisfied or unsatisfied with the milling company's investment and labour practices. So this suggests a significant concern that the company is not doing enough to ensure optimum operations, retain skilled labour, and meet Australian performance standards. Moving on to question number 5. Are you satisfied that the head of your miller's cane supply and transport department is properly managing the supply, collection and processing of sugarcane in order to minimise delays in crushing, supply bins on time, minimise the prospect of unfilled bins, ensure timely communications of changes or disruptions to scheduling, and considerate towards maintaining a harmonious system? Now, the results, of course, here is a resounding 36% is very unsatisfied, and a further 36.8% is unsatisfied, ultimately giving us a collective amount of somewhere around about, again, 82, 83% of 73, sorry, correct? And I've just moved the wrong question. Yep. So the results indicate that a significant majority of, we're on to question 5, aren't we? Correct, yes. Yep, so actually that gives us 73% of the respondents are either very unsatisfied or unsatisfied with the management of CS&T department. This suggests a very strong concern that the department is not effectively managing the supply chain, leading to delays, inefficiencies, and poor communication. The low satisfaction rate highlights the need for improvement in the CS&T department's management practices. Moving on to question number 6. Do you think that the cane supply and transport departments comprise of personnel whose actions result in disharmony amongst industry participants? Now, these results are quite interesting, where 25% strongly agreed, 35% agreed, and 30% were neutral on this. So ultimately, the findings of this item is these results indicate a significant proportion of 61% of respondents agree or strongly agree that CS&T department personnel's actions contribute to disharmony amongst industry participants. This suggests that there are issues with communications, collaboration, or other aspects of the CS&T department's operation that are causing tensions or conflict within the industry. Question number 7. Do you agree that the harvest sector is being forced to work unnecessarily extraordinary hours to supply your miller and may find themselves leaving bins behind unfilled as a result? Now, naturally, the results here, of course, is 37% strongly agree, 43.23% agree, and 13% are neutral. The results indicate that a significant majority of 81% of respondents agreed or strongly agree that the harvest sector is being forced to work excessive hours to supply the miller, which may result in unfilled bins. This suggests there are concerns about the sustainability of the current workload and its impact on the harvest sector's ability to meet these demands. Stephen, over to you for the remainder of the questions. And/or Michael?
Michael's coming up.
Certainly.
Thanks, Panikos.
Yeah. Hi everybody, Michael Kern, Chief Strategy Officer with QCAR. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to go through the rest of the survey results. So we're now going to be going on to question 8. Question 8 was, do you agree that the failings of these milling systems have a direct cost and safety fatigue impact on harvest contractors and farming businesses? Now, 90%, correct?
So question 8.
Yep. 90% were either in agreement or in strong agreement with this particular comment. So this certainly indicates that there's a strong agreement that the failings of the milling systems have a direct cost and safety fatigue impact on harvest contractors and farm business. And that obviously means there's a very strong concern in the sugarcane industry about the consequences of milling systems inefficiencies on the financial and physical well-being of those in the harvest sector. Right, moving on to question 9. Question 9 was, do you believe your relevant mill was truly ready to start the 2024 crushing season on time and as originally advised by them? Now, in this instance, we had 88% either disbelieving that comment or strongly disbelieving. I want to know who, with the 10 or so 100 people who said that they somehow strongly believe this comment, that in fact they were ready. But anyway, that certainly confirmed what our thought was and certainly suggests a significant lack of confidence in the mill's preparedness and communication regarding the start of the season. Moving then to question number 10. Do you believe your mill owner is truly prepared to include all industry stakeholders to secure a shared future in alternative renewable energy products? Again, we had a response on this occasion of 82%, roughly, were either a response of 4 or higher, that is, they disbelieve or strongly disbelieve that comment. And again, this suggests certainly a lack of confidence in the mill owner's willingness or ability to collaborate with stakeholders to transition to renewable energy sources. Question 11. Do you believe grower representative organisations, collective organisations, are doing enough to serve and represent the Queensland sugarcane industry? This is a question we asked to sort of put our chin out there in front, to sort of go, okay, we've been having a swipe at other people, maybe it's an opportunity for people to have a swipe back at us. So it was quite relieving to see that there was a strong response in the disbelieve and strongly disbelieve column, and in fact 82% had a response of 4 or higher, that is, that they disbelieve or strongly disbelieve. So we believe that is a perceived gap in representation and service delivery. Could suggest that, but on the other hand, there's people who strongly believe that the organisations are doing enough and indicating at least some level of satisfaction in what we're doing.
There was a significant amount that were neutral.
Yes, and Stephen's pointing out that there was a significant number who were neutral in that response. That probably reflects that there was a high number of people who indicated who'd filled in the survey and wanted to just be neutral on that. And that's the other thing in this survey response process. We offered people to respond either anonymously or to supply their name, etc. And I don't know whether we've got the percentage on that response, but it was a very high number of people who actually included their name as part of the survey response. Okay, and Stephen's saying a majority. So that's a very strong message that people were prepared to put their statements forward, not hide in the shadows, but actually identify themselves and prepared to stand by that. So moving then on to question 12. Sorry? Oh, hold on a second. I was waiting for it to pop up there. This survey question asked respondents about their interest in attending a whole of harvest sector meeting to jointly express concerns with farmers in an open forum environment. So here we are today, folks. A lot of people wanting the opportunity to have a chat across a whole range of stakeholder groups. And as you can see, we had a fairly strong response to that particular question, with over 70% plus the neutrals of 25, 70% responding for or higher, interested in being part of a forum. So thank you very much for being able to take the time to participate in this forum. We understand not everyone can. We're in the middle of a crushing season, but thank you very much for coming along. And it certainly suggests a strong interest in collaborative communication and collective expressions of concerns. So thank you very much for that. Now I think that's pretty much the 12 questions we asked. Stephen? And then the last one, of course, which was I suppose a question that didn't really want a sort of a graduate response. It was very much a yes or no. Do you believe your opinion counts? And the response to that was, yep, 55% and 45%. So 55% said, yes, you believe your opinion counts. And this is really important in any sort of almost satisfaction survey that's conducted, that people actually believe that their opinion will count. If people give up on the thought that what they say is not going to be listened to, is not going to be acted upon, and is not going to be dealt with, the industry goes to rack and ruin, and people leave in droves, and you'll just have 4 or 5 companies running the whole sugarcane industry, and we don't want that. So that was good, that's a positive response there. But clearly what we'd love to do is to take on board everyone's concerns, try and deal with them, address them, and we'll see that response increase, and people will have, once again, a greater confidence that what they say is being heard and being acted upon in the industry.
Panikos, would you like to have any concluding remarks?
Thank you, Stephen. I think at this stage, the results of the surveys have indicated to us that we've got a fundamental issue. We have an ingrained cultural issue. Clearly, we have a dysfunctional grower-miller relationship amongst the participants, and clearly we're here today to highlight these and to demonstrate a way forward in trying to unpack these issues. And the survey results have indicated and have pointed out where the disgruntlement is, where the feeling and emotion is, and where the various sectors are feeling the hurt at that supply interface, and all of the results continually indicate to us that we have fundamental problems at the supply interface between grower, harvest sector and miller. Thank you, Stephen.
Yes, I'd just like to conclude this segment just by saying that we'd like to continue to run these surveys. I think they're important, and to me the response has been heartening, and it tells me that there are people that do want to have their say and register their interest. And it was quite obvious to us that as soon as we launched this survey, and okay, we admit we could word the questions differently, and we did tone it down in draft form, and it did upset some milling companies and ASMC. We weren't deliberately trying to upset anybody, but we were trying to get relevant data. Now, we've invited ASMC to help us design questions that they might like to ask. We haven't had a result from that yet. So we have reached out to people. We're not trying to just be stirrers or agitators, and we're not trying to do that at all. But we are trying to seek valid data. It's qualitative data from our industry, and we'll continue to do that. And let's hope that we can run an even better survey next year.
Well, just before Stephen ducks off the stage, we'll get him. There has been a media release that we would like to run over, and I'll let Steve take you through that from the Australian Sugar Milling Council. So, Steve, if you'd like to run through that one.
Yes, this has just come out this morning. I don't think that I really want to give it the airtime to read it verbatim, but it's publicly available. But the main thing is that rather than participate, unfortunately, the Milling Council has chosen to publicly say that we're playing down or talking down the industry, which is not correct. We're actually trying to identify real issues and, as I said earlier, real cultural, systemic and structural issues with our industry that can be addressed. And it's not a matter of putting on rose-coloured glasses and pretending that everything's okay. It's not a matter of fending off any real and valid identification of issues or any real and valid challenges. That's not on. And so we're here obviously to address those things, but just to let you know, you can read that now or later on in your own time just to see what the official response to our valid and earnest actions of today has been.